Hey, Conscious Habit listeners. My goal is to help support you on your journey of discovering how to live from your highest and most fulfilled self at home and at work. And in that vein, I have some thoughts I'd like to share with you today. So meditate on this. So I recently embarked on a 3-day silent retreat, and I have not stopped talking about it since. Right? From silence to not shutting up. Clearly, I had a lot of lessons learned from this experience. I really, truly did. I ended up writing over 50 pages in my journal, these words of wisdom that came to me that I want to share with you, and really the impact that I learned of the value of stillness, the value of presence, and something that I have talked about and believed in for a long time, but there are some experiences that anchor it more deeply within you, anchor the wisdom and the knowing and the understanding more deeply within you. So first off, I would just like to say that when I would tell people that I was doing this 3-day silent retreat, no phone, no talking with a group of people I didn't know, the common response was, I could never do that, or why, something to that effect. And I totally respect it. It isn't for everybody. And yet I've had other people who said, oh my gosh, I need this. I need what it is that you went through. So maybe it will call to some of you. You don't have to step away. You don't have to turn off your phone for long periods of times in order to also allow yourself to get some of this wisdom. I want to emphasize over and over and over again that wisdom whispers. So when we feel stuck, lost, fearful, uncertain, frustrated, angry, the place where we are going to get the greatest wisdom for how to move through it is sitting still. It is sitting quietly. And these 3 days really, as I mentioned, help anchor that in for me. So the first 24 hours was really this roller coaster ride of feeling like peaceful and at ease because we got to be out in nature and, really walk around on our own. We were on this beautiful property in New Harmony, Indiana, this little town that was built with this utopic idea of equality. And it's really this spiritual little town. Kind of every twist or turn you make, there's some spiritual significance. They've got this roofless church with these beautiful statues, throughout, and these gardens, and they've got these signs with these beautiful sayings. And of course, you don't have your phone, so you can't take pictures of any of it. You just get to be present with it. And one of the things that I wrote down in the spaces where I could tap into presence in that first 24 hours, because let me tell you, I was dealing with some habit energy. We have a lot of habit energy. The habit of picking up our phones. Look at your phone. It'll tell you how many times you've picked it up in a day. It's in the hundreds of times. We don't even notice it or recognize it. Your phone knows, by the way. It knows what your habits are. You have an app that you go to immediately when you open your phone. Habit energy. It's probably your email. And there are times that you look at your email, maybe respond, shut it off, and then 2 seconds later, you click it again. Habit energy. We go straight to the coffee pot. Habit energy. Maybe it works for us, maybe it doesn't. That first 24 hours where you have nothing to distract you, you are faced with recognizing your habit energy. And this first, piece that I wrote here, I just want to share and reflect with you. One of the first, I think actually this might have been on page 5, but it doesn't really matter. This is one that really stuck out to me in the first 24 hours. There are signs of perfect harmony all around. The wind blows, the water dances, the crickets sing, the grass sways. A symphony of harmony plays live day and night, and almost no one notices. In the moments that I could catch myself in stillness, I was just in awe of being an observer. And that's the beauty of giving ourselves space to be, because we're so busy with doing, do. What's the next thing on my to-do list? Scroll on social media, respond to that email, look at my We are so uncomfortable in being in stillness within ourselves. It feels foreign that we've got to keep ourselves distracted or busy somehow, some way, constantly in this doer mode. But when we give ourselves space to step away from that, we become the observer. And it's incredible the abundance that we are able to witness around us. Taking this back into how I've been integrating it since, the world is divisive. It has been for quite some time. We are seeing an amplification of that. And our attention is our greatest currency. So if what I'm giving my attention to is the negativity, the hate, the frustration, the anger, and how the opposite side of the aisle of what I believe in is behaving, then that is what I'm amplifying. And I am inviting the world to show me more of it, because that's how my brain's going to operate. My brain is saying, oh, everything sucks. Okay, let me help you find the evidence. I'm going to be drawn in more. I'm going to get into the comments. I'm going to read them. They're going to frustrate me, and I'm going to amplify. But what if I stepped back and I stepped into the observer role, but with the opposite lens? And I said, I want to give my attention to the good. I want to see and recognize the harmony. I want to witness love instead of hate and fear. Your brain will help you collect the evidence in that way too. And that's the beautiful thing about being still, is because it can really reveal itself to us. And I'm a believer, I think many of us know this, nature is healing, and it is an incredible teacher. I had many pages written just about the trees. Here's one right here. Hopefully I can read my own writing. Let me sit upon the trees, the preachers and teachers, the secret keepers and wisdom bearers. Let them remind me of strength, steadfastness, trust, and collaboration. They are the ultimate team players. May I sit beneath your shade and soak it all in. Nature is a pretty good teacher. And I will tell you that the wisdom that is provided for us, both around us in nature and even within our own selves, within our own higher consciousness, this higher soul connection within ourselves, wisdom whispers, the ego yells. And so if we want to hear the whispers of wisdom that are seeking to find us in those moments where we feel lost, frustrated, angry, fill in the blank, uncertain, we must create stillness. Now, the second day, I will say the first day was a roller coaster. It felt like the longest day of my life. And actually, as I'm flipping through my journal now, I can see where I was literally counting the hours. There was one clock in this entire retreat center, and you bet your ass every time I walked by it, I had to look to see what time it was. That was also, again, in the stillness, you get to see the habit energy, but you also get to see the intention behind it. Like, ooh, I'm so addicted to knowing the time. And why? Because I let the time tell me what I should and shouldn't feel or think, or what I need. So used to the time telling me, oh, it is 12 o'clock. It is time for lunch. Instead of me being like, am I hungry for lunch? Or it is 8:30 p.m. It is time for bed. Yes, it's time for bed at 8:30, okay? Judge me if you will. But it is time for bed. Instead of being like, is my body tired right now? I think we use these external, sources for validation of what our internal knowing has the answer to, but we don't tune in. We do not tune in. Instead, we tune out. And so looking through, I'm kind of laughing how I'm like, hour 14, hour 22, like I was a prisoner counting down the days until release. Definitely a roller coaster of habit energy. I think the last I counted was hour 36, which would have been Saturday morning. And then there was a softening. There was just a softening into the day. There was a softening into the boredom. And this came through this passage that It may become a tattoo on my body at some point in time. In stillness, there I am. In stillness, there I am. By the way, I am, if you have ever listened to spiritual teachers out there, the I am is referred to all that is, everything, the connection, the thing that connects us all. And we all have our belief system of what that is. Sometimes we like to give it a name, but that is the connection to all. And so that phrase, when it came to me, it was like, in stillness, yeah. I find myself in stillness, but I also find all that is in stillness. It was such a beautiful, beautiful reminder. And then not long after came this passage. What would it feel like? That was prompted, by the way, by our yoga teacher, Katerina, who did great, beautiful practices every day. We would do a couple of practices. She would do some Dharma talks. It was really an incredible experience, but she asked us to write this down. What would it feel like? And so what prompted after that was this. What would it feel like to be fully in this moment, not trying to hold on to it longer or wish it away? What would it feel like to be fully in this body, not poking, prodding, shaming, or punishing? What would it feel like to trust that I am supported? Not controlling, pleading, or forcing my way. What would it feel like to breathe with ease? No tension, no constricting, just. What would it feel like to be, truly be? No doing, no rushing, nothing frenetic or chaotic, just pure essence. Pure presence, purely me. I love looking back at these and just, how I am incorporating this, by the way. Been very aware of what's happening in my brain and body and what story I'm telling myself, and just recognizing when I need to take the breath and allow myself to move more into presence, more into stillness. And, to let go of some of the beliefs or needs to control. That's what many of this comes down to, is just this feeling as though we need to control. And that is often a sign that we just need to soften a bit. The experience of being silent also has us really aware of the made up conversations in our head, or the things we feel like we have to say. Like, I need to tell them thank you. I need to tell them I'm sorry. At one point in time, I was part of my seva, which is the giving back, the helping. I was in charge of doing breakfast cleanup one morning, and I'm washing these dishes, and I accidentally hit these glass bottles that were standing up on their side. And the crash and cling of it was insane. It was so loud. And I just wanted to scream, I'm so sorry, because I knew it was like, it interrupted everyone's silence. And so, it was, interesting to allow ourselves to sit with that. And this passage came through on that day too. The silence keeps the words from fumbling out. It creates spacious awareness of all the times your mind wishes to say, I'm sorry, but the silence stops the action short. I'm sorry, am I in your way? I'm sorry I'm making so much noise. I'm sorry for hogging the shower. But no sorries are needed. No excuse me, no thank you, no bless you, you're okay, you're welcome. Because all is okay. All is welcome, all excused, all blessed. There is a silent knowing and acceptance in this stillness, where these words are known and felt without needing to be said. And I'm so grateful for a chance to reflect on what is truly meant versus what is habit. For what is meant need not be expressed. Okay. One more I would love to share with you. By the way, that passage just helps me really lean into this idea of, am I saying what I truly mean? Because things are either coming from our habit energy, we do it just simply out of habit, or it's coming from our full expression of our authenticity. and to really allow our words to have meaning, the vibration that carries the words to have a deep, deep resonance, and to know that just the space we're holding doesn't have to necessarily, fill it with words. It could really just be the energy of that we're holding in the silence. It was still known and it was still felt. So last thing that I will leave you with is just knowing that on the other side of whatever the discomfort is often the thing that we're seeking. And so these phrases came through. Where there is boredom, there is ease. Where there is stillness, there is peace. Where there is breath, there is light. Go there. Greatest takeaway from this retreat is that boredom is such a gift we can give ourselves if we allow ourselves to just sit in the discomfort of that habit energy. When boredom meets us, what's on the other side is what we're really looking for, which is this sigh of relief, this more present, this greater sweetness for the experience of life, because we are really anchored in it. And we're not chasing it in some present moment. We're not trying to hurry up and get it out of the way so that we can get to be somewhere else. But we are truly, truly softened into the space that we're holding. I would do this again 100%, and I would do it for longer. I would love to do a 5-day retreat. And this has been so profound that I have talked to Des. We do these high vibe tribe retreats together. We've talked about integrating some opportunities to observe silence in our retreat, some opportunities to observe tech detox into our retreat, ways to allow ourselves to be with ourselves more deeply, more compassionately, more openly, so that we can get to know ourselves and that habit energy and be able to shift it to a greater awareness, a greater stillness, and a greater presence. This is the longest ever meditate on this episode that we've done, but I really wanted to take the time to capture these lessons, both so that my future self can come back to it and be reminded, but also for you to know that you have everything within you to get yourself to where you want to be. Sometimes we just have to slow down and listen.